Let's go over our keys to victory for the defense, Brian, and we've got some good ones here. And we already talked about the defense a little bit, but I love diving into this a little bit more. So your first key to victory must be good up front. And what you wrote was Notre Dame's defensive line was a strength of the team last season, and it was supposed to be a strength in 2024 as well. Through 2 games, the Irish defensive line has been a disappointment. There have been some flashes, and Jordan Botelho has been a bright spot. But overall, this group hasn't lived up to expectations. That obviously must change against this veteran Purdue offensive line. It's also a line with a bit more size than Northern Illinois, and that line pushed the Irish around last weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, they got pushed around last weekend, and honestly, I can't think of a better word, but it was disturbing. Like watching that over and over and over in that game, harking back to what you just said about this is supposed to be the strength of the defense.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like they were getting pushed around, and it just wasn't good. And so they had to fix that going into this week.
It didn't start well. Like first couple series, I was actually a little bit concerned. Like I think we're going to see a little bit more of the same. I think it was first or second play of the game, Riley Mills gets driven off like 6 yards off the ball. Howard Cross didn't do a whole lot early. I thought R.J. Oben was telegraphing his release a little bit. But I felt like as the game wore on, I thought they started to play better and better and better.
Yeah.
I still didn't think that Riley Mills or Howard Cross played very well. I didn't think either of them really did. They didn't play poorly. Riley had some poor moments. He also had some decent moments. I didn't think Howard Cross didn't have any moments that I saw as bad as Riley Mills' bad moments, but like neither of them really did anything. They combined for 2 pressures in the game. They combined for 1 total stop. They combined for, I think, 1 tackle, although I felt Howard Cross should have been credited with a tackle on a play he wasn't credited with a tackle on. But still, 2 tackles from I didn't think your All-American stepped up and played better. And that's a concern for me.
It is a concern.
Because they haven't done a whole lot so far this year. Neither of them, well, I shouldn't say you're a captain and an All-American. Because Riley Mills is an All-American. They have to play better. And so that's a concern. And that's why this isn't a plus. Right. The reason that I consider it a plus is because the rest of the D-line played pretty well. And I felt as the game kind of got a couple series in, they got better. I thought early on, what stinks about Jordan Botelho getting hurt is because he was playing so well, not just in the first 2 games, but as I mentioned, I thought he's been a bright spot, but he was playing he got hurt at the 8-minute mark of the second quarter, and he already had 4 tackles and a sack and another pressure by that point in time.
He was abusing the tackles.
They
couldn't keep up with him. His first step was really, really good on Saturday, and he was really starting to make a name for himself because look, up to this point, he's been a little disappointing in his Notre Dame career. And it's like he took that personally this offseason and then into this season. And it was very clear what he was trying to do and what he was able to do. And that is just if he is indeed out for the season and going off the field on a card is not a great sign, obviously. Yeah. We won't know anything specific until tomorrow.
I'll actually have an update on the injuries of something I heard today on the board.
Okay.
Intel on the board, but that's only going to be on the board. We won't talk about it here.
Right. So if he's out for the season, based on what I saw in the game of him getting carted off, right? That's just it's a devastating injury for the defense, obviously, but it's also a devastating injury for him individually. I mean, he was in the process of having just a coming out year for him, and he was playing with motor and consistency. Man. He was setting the edge effectively. Yes.
He was playing at a very high level. I thought R.J. Oben struggled a little bit based on, just early in the game. I thought, actually, it was funny. A buddy just texted me. He's like, who's number 9? I was like, that's R.J. Oben. He goes, he's really active in the third quarter. And I was like, he was. Like, there was a play in the third quarter where Boubacar and him both crashed the edge, and Boubacar took out the run. It was a read zone. Boubacar takes out the running back. The quarterback keeps it, and then RJ chases him down and makes the play there. Much more active, getting on getting off the line effectively and things like that. Those were good signs, very good signs from him.
Yes, and we talked about the fact that he needed to kind of start stepping up because he was essentially invisible the first 2 weeks, right? I mean,
and then you had Josh Burnham out, and that was important too because like he's going to have to step up but I thought Boubacar had a bit of in everyone with Boubacar, they're going to focus on the flash plays. You know, the great pressure, the pick six, which, I mean, the guy threw the ball right to him. That's not why I was impressed with Boubacar yesterday. I was impressed with Boubacar because of the little things he did. He was setting the edge effectively. And they ran a counter at him, and he just took his inside shoulder, Vince, and rammed it into the guy because you got to wrong arm him. You know what I mean? Like, you got to attack inside shoulder because you're the force player. And I thought he did really well there. And so you always knew Boubacar was going to give you the flash. I think the first play of his career last season, I think he one of meaningful snap of his career, he literally sacks the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. You know, he's always going to give you that flash play, but for Boubacar to really be an impact player, he needs to do the little things well also.
Sure.
And that was the most complete game he's ever played. And you know what? It showed me something. Not that he eventually stepped up, Vince. He was my #1 upside player in the 2023 class on defense, like #1. Of guy with the highest ceiling. It was more about, you knew it was eventually going to happen. But the fact that he did it when his team needed him the most and played him at 2 positions. He played Viper and big end, defensive end on Saturday. He was we're thinking like, how are they going to replace the snaps from Burnham? Well, they did it with a little bit of Bryce Young, but they also did it they put Boubacar over there. So not only did this young player who hasn't played a whole lot of football have a breakout game, but he did it being asked to play 2 different positions. That's impressive. That says a lot. Hey, you know what? I can count on you. That's what he told the rest of his D. Hey, coaches, count on me.
Right.
When y'all need me to step up because Josh is down, I'm going to step up and do my job and have the best game of my career. That was a great sign. Bryce, has a lot to learn, but he's really, really talented.
He's really talented.
Did more. I thought they did more with Donovan, letting Donovan shoot gaps a little bit more.
Yes,
in this game, Vince.
I wanted to mention that. Yeah,
that was huge
because they didn't let him do that the week before.
No,
they were
trying to get driven off the ball.
Yeah,
the only time they asked him to stalemate in this game was in obvious passing downs, where it was like, we're trying to keep the quarterback from running.
Right.
And, that's okay. That's different than you're asking him to do that in the run game.
Right, exactly.
I thought Junior Tuihalamaka came in and played hard after Jordan went down. And we saw Logan Thomas come in. He's got to fill out, but that kid is twitchy.
Right.
That kid has some juice, and he's clearly going to play more, I think, and it's my opinion. They're not going to redshirt Logan Thomas. He's literally started on kickoff and kick return and punt block in the first 3 games. You don't have him starting that many special teams, and then after 4th game, okay, no more playing now because we're going to redshirt you.
Not in a row.
I think they look at him and say, yeah, it'd be nice to give him a year to build up his body, but with how athletic this kid is, the odds of him being a 5-year player are slim.
Yeah.
And that's smart, in my opinion. And now you're going to need it. Now you're going to need it. Now, I don't know if him being the guy to replace Jordan is going to happen against Miami, but it's like, okay, you're going to have to ramp the reps up, and hopefully at some point in time the light can go on. So they're going to have to find some answers. The good news is they had a lot of guys step up and play well on Saturday. Vince, and you had said something to me when we were talking, like that's part of the reason that we felt like the linebackers played better is because the D-line was more effective and they could just run to the ball.
Exactly. It's a lot harder for speedy, athletic, second-level players, that these linebackers are, especially guys that are learning and kind of learning on the job, right? I mean, they're young guys that have not had significant playing time, and even the guy that's had significant playing time in Jack Kaiser's in a new position, right? So you've got a lot of new back there, and when the defensive line is getting pushed off the ball into your lap as a linebacker, it's very difficult to be coming downhill and playing fast and doing all the things that we know these guys have the ability to do. It was completely different yesterday. Completely different because the defensive line was winning matchups and keeping the offensive line of Purdue off of those linebackers. And then those guys were able to just come downhill and make plays. And everybody was talking about how good the linebackers were playing, right? Because they were able to play. They were able to not have to worry about block destruction and all of those different things on a regular basis like they had to the week before because the defensive line just didn't play very well.
Right.
And so
they played soft. They didn't play hard. They didn't outside of Burnham and Batelho. And now both of those guys are out.
Exactly.
Which is a different conversation for a different day. Burnham will be back. It was just a sprained ankle.
And they gave him a shot in pregame, I think is what I understood. And he just wasn't quite ready. And that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I have no problem with them having him sit out.
I would have him sit out this week too, but
right.
I'm going to say that strongly Might even write an article about it, because the last time I said that they need to rest a guy, he came out and,
played pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what else I found out when I was breaking down the game? Did you know that I looked at the game summary, like the score summary?
Okay.
And every time Riley Leonard rushed for a touchdown, they counted it as 6 points.
No way.
Did you know that?
I thought rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, and then like later when Steve threw the passing touchdowns, like they counted as 6 points.
Huh.
I did not know that. I thought passing touchdowns for a quarterback actually counted as more for a rushing quarter than a run for a quarterback. But I was confused because
that's amazing. They must have changed the rules on me. I wasn't paying attention.
A little bit of sarcasm.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
So I think that the first key to victory, that's a plus for me. I don't know. I mean, you get the official grade, but
I just we were talking about the linebackers. I was giving an example of why I don't listen to Pro Football Focus grades. They had Jalen Snead's tackling grade as over 10 points less than the Dylan Thieneman for Purdue's tackling grade. No one on the planet should have had a worse tackling grade than number 31.
Oh my God.
But they said Jalen Snead had one missed tackle. So just another reason why again, data collection at PFF, great. Grading system,
not great. So not great.
And I didn't think Jalen Snead played well, but that was one of the worst tackling performances I've ever seen from a football player.
And he was supposed to be their guy.
He is. He's really good.
But he just didn't play very well.
He's in space.
Right.
Again,
this is true.
Let's be real. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price also made Texas A&M's defensive players look pretty stupid in space also. And they've been pretty good the next 2 games.
This is true.
Like, part of this is you've got dudes
right
that are going to make a lot of people look stupid.
Yeah.
So the kid didn't forget how to play football. He had over 100 tackles last year. He went against just way better athletes in space. That's the key.
Right.
That's the key.
Next defensive key to victory is have a plan for movement. Northern Illinois gave Notre Dame some major problems last weekend with its pre-snap movement. It put the Irish linebackers in some really bad spots, and they had the Irish completely out-leveraged and in some bad spots at the snap. Purdue doesn't do as much as Northern Illinois pre-snap, but you can bet they're going to ramp it up in hopes of creating some of the same issues that the defense had against Northern Illinois.
I didn't think they did. Like, I didn't.
They
think
did not
Purdue,
ramp it up.
I not at all. I thought Purdue just kind of ran their off. I don't see how you watch what happened to Notre Dame on Saturday, the week before, and look at their depth chart and be like freshman, sophomore, freshman, and think, let's not do that. I mean, I understand that's not who you are, but as we saw from Notre Dame, you can make adjustments from one week to the next, especially when you've got a bye week.
You're telling me they don't have any motions in their offensive playbook?
Yeah,
or,
there's a couple things they did where Notre Dame was out leveraged to a degree, but again, their speed took over, where if you're playing a better team, they're going to make that play. Like, there was a play where Kingston came downhill and it wasn't about motion, but he comes downhill and he's taking on a block and the guy bounces it and he tackles him for a stop. And I'm thinking, great play in this game because their running back is slow.
Mm-hmm.
If that would have happened against your running backs or Ohio State's running backs or Texas's running backs, I don't know if that's a tackle.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's some improvement there, but I want to see. I don't know that they were tested enough for me to say they improved, but they did handle what Purdue did. And I give them a check for that. And there were some things Purdue did with the running backs out of the backfield. Like, have you noticed Notre Dame's been struggling with like swing and wheel routes from running backs in the first 2 games? They handled those really effectively. Thought they did a good job there. They did use the tight ends a little bit. And
their one tight end is their best receiver, basically.
He was on Saturday. Yeah, he was very good on Saturday. But they didn't do poorly with it. They didn't do phenomenal with it because they weren't really tested. But with what Purdue did, for the most part, I thought they handled fine.
Yeah,
they handled fine.
Right.
I just offensively, I don't know how you look at Notre Dame's youth at linebacker and think to yourself, hey, let's try to do things to get these guys thinking.
Look, we've talked about how you put a game plan together, right? And what you do when you're watching film of another team and you look at their depth chart and you know all of these different things, right? And you kind of figure out, okay, where is this team the weakest? Okay, well, if I'm scouting Notre Dame and I'm looking at the film, right? Well, this team is, in theory, the weakest at the second level at linebacker because of all the youth, right? Yes, they're athletic. Yes, they're fast. All of those things. Yep, that's great. But that's, I mean, if you look at their defensive line and the depth there, you look at the secondary and what they got going on there, like, okay, it's linebackers by default. They did nothing, in my opinion, to alter their offense to take advantage of a perceived weakness in the scouting report. And that, I mean, that's just not good coaching, in my opinion. They just didn't stress the linebackers at all. And that you know, I mean, obviously I give Notre Dame a check here.
Yeah.
Because
they did, because the times I mean, there was some motion and some
sure.
movement, you know, but it wasn't anything extra. And I thought they handled it relatively well in this game.
No, I agree with that completely. Okay. Number 3 in keys to success for the defense. First down success is key. Notre Dame absolutely must have early down success against Purdue. This isn't an offense that is great when it gets off schedule. The Boilermakers don't have many burners on offense, and the offense isn't geared towards playing
I
behind.
should have changed that. I should have said they don't have any burners on offense.
That's fair. If Notre Dame can get them in some second and third and long situations, that will give the defense plenty of opportunities for stops, especially early.
I thought they were great here.
Yes.
They had the 120-yard completion on the last drive of the first quarter on first down. But before that, Vince, I thought they were
like a tight end screen.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Like they gave up a second down conversion on their on the first drive on the slant against Morrison, and then first down it was 0 yards, 3 yards on first down, holding. So you got back minus 20. Second and 15, no yards on second and 15. Next drive, you got a first down on first down. Then it was 2 yards, 1 yard on second down. Go to the second quarter. You get 1 yard on first down, 3 yards on second down. It's 3rd and 6. Oh, no, that's actually Notre Dame. You got 2 yards on first down, 4 yards on second down, 3rd and 4. You sack the quarterback. Next drive, they come out, incomplete on first down, sacked on second down.
Right.
You know, you go out to the next drive, it's 7-yard gain, first down, and then interception. And that 7-yard gain, that was late in the half where Notre Dame was playing off.
Yeah,
right.
They had two runs consecutively for 7 yards, but it was towards the end of the quarter.
Yeah, there was 2 minutes left in the half. Right.
And Notre Dame was, and by the way, they were up by a decent
28.
You know what I mean? They're up 28-0, and they I'm not saying they took their foot off the gas.
I give them a check. I mean, I don't think they were great, like, oh my gosh, but they were pretty good. I say borderline. If I had, well, what would you give them, a plus or a check, Vince? I give them a check, but I kind of, you know, like,
it's like a check with like half the plus.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at, because look, last week they were terrible on second down. They're pretty good in first down. Like I feel like, maybe this is just my memory. I haven't gone back and like actually done the stats, but I feel like they were pretty good on first down, and then they gave up second down plays like over and over and over. And then they were giving Northern Illinois a lot of 3rd and shorts. Right. And they weren't good on short yardage downs. They just weren't last week, right?
Because Northern Illinois had their whole package on 3rd and short, run and pass. Purdue didn't have a whole lot of those situations, Vince. More often than not, on 3rd down, it was 3rd and 5 or longer. And that's just, you're not going to have a lot of success against Notre Dame that way.
Right. And so, yeah, this time around, I thought that they did much, much better on second down and then creating 3rd and long opportunities. And look, there's not going to be a lot of offenses out there that are going to be able to be successful against Notre Dame on 3rd and long.
Agree. I love this comment from Ed. Isn't half a plus a minus?
Not if you do the up and down.
It's a check plus. Wait, let's just do that. That's a great comment, Ed. That was awesome, man. Really good stuff. Because like,
I'll give credit where it's due. I'll give it where it's due, man.
I would do a check plus. It's not a full plus, but it's fair. You know, it's close to it. So I'd go check plus. But that was really good. I saw that, Vince, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
All right, Ed, you got me. Yeah. All right, fair enough. Okay. Last key to victory for the defense was get the ball. Quarterback Hudson Card is a good football player, but he'll put the ball in situations where the defense can get it. Purdue is also ranked 76th in the country last season in fumbles lost. Notre Dame will need to take advantage of these opportunities and force some turnovers in this game.
I go plus or check. I don't think it was I thought there was a couple other opportunities where maybe they could have gotten the ball. They didn't force the ball to be put on the ground a lot. I still think the play that Jalen Sneed hit that guy, I thought that was a fumble.
Yeah.
I think they ruled it an incomplete pass. That was a fumble.
And
I was like, Jalen, you're getting up celebrating. Like, look for the ball,
right.
you know. But, you know, look, it's a check. You had the big interception that put the game away.
If Christian Gray catches that ball and returns it for 6, is it a plus?
I'm
just asking.
Yeah, because it was first half.
Okay.
Yeah, because like they got the interception like late in the game, but it's like it was 62 to or like 59 to 6 at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, which was a really good play by the defense, by the way. But they did well. They did their job. They forced 2 turnovers and had a couple other potential almost turnovers. But yeah, it's a check. It's not a plus, but it's a check. It's a little because like there's a couple times I would have liked to see the guy come up behind the quarterback and instead of going for a tackle, you know,
strip sack action
down. Yeah, stuff like that.
Right,
stuff like that.
Stuff they can clean up and they can get better at. Obviously, I mean they were around. I mean Hudson Carr is going to be seeing white Notre Dame jerseys and gold helmets in his sleep.
It was good. It wasn't great.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But the Christian Gray one, I think probably would have maybe done it. But like the pick 6 was awesome. Again, it was 28-0 at that point in time. Like I don't know that he makes that throw if they're not down 28 points. Like I think he probably just takes a sack and punt. Hudson Card's a veteran player. I don't know if he tries to force that ball. And I went back and watched it, Vince, and Ryan was correct. If Boubacar wasn't there, Jaden Alsbury is there to pick that up for touchdown. So
yeah, for sure.
It was getting picked
either
for
way
6 by somebody.
Generally, when you try to throw with your left hand, that's or whatever he was trying to do in that particular scenario, not good things happen. Generally, I also want to point out the fact that your wife is coming at me once again. I'm starting to feel targeted. I'm just saying.
Yes, this is like the 3rd time. At least now she's doing it publicly. Now she's doing it publicly. My wife is throwing shade at you, Vince. Like, man, dude. Dang.
Well, it is what it is. I'll take it like a man.
We'll talk afterwards. I'll talk to her. I'm like, hey, listen, you got to be nice to Vince. He's sensitive.
I am very sensitive. There's tear stains on my pillows. All right. That's going to do it for this part of the show. Make sure you hit that like button.
Did you agree with that? Did you check?
I'm in the same neighborhood. Yeah, absolutely. I would have liked to see some more
grading because like they had a pick 6, man. What do you want?
I know
it's 28-0 when that. You know what I mean? Like that. Right. That's Morrison had a ball bounce off his hands in the first quarter, and
that's right.
You know there was
that one.
There's just a couple of those type of plays where maybe you could have got the ball, but you know.
Yeah, completely agree. So hit that like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, share with your family and friends. Jump on the boards.irishbreakdown.com. Starting tomorrow, there will be some actual film breakdown, but you've got to be on the board in order to get that information. So boards.irishbreakdown.com is where it is at.